foster friends and family. My name is Charles, and you're listening to the Fosterdaddirective podcast, where we are going to explore being a parent and my relation to it from a viewpoint of the foster care system. In this episode, we will actually be talking about our second foster/adoption attempt. This one was actually supposed to come before Elle, who was our first foster kid, but our paperwork wasn't fully completed, so we couldn't start this foster/adoption process, but we could take care of Elle. It's a whole kind of foggy area that hopefully I'll eventually be able to go over, but I'm not 100% sure about in all honesty. So we will go over this. I want to go over it mostly because it goes over a lot of points I'm seeing as a foster parent and parent, I'm assuming in general, with AI, technology, and all that, and we're going to look at ways to try to combat these issues and see what we can do to help with our children's mental health, their safety, and everything like that. So, as always, please know I'm not a trained professional. The viewpoints expressed on this podcast are those of myself and in the future other hosts or guests and do not constitute professional advice unless otherwise stated by said guest. Please ensure you seek adequate and effective legal counsel to best protect yourself in this ever-changing environment, especially if you're outside of the state of Michigan, and look into articles and everything else to give you a better understanding of the topics we go over. So there are no really other updates that I can think of. I apologize if you've been listening that the episodes are so sporadic. We got the 7 and 9-year-olds, and oh my goodness, I thought the brothers were high energy. These kids put them to shame, honestly. These girls are wild children, and they keep me on my toes. But other than that, things have been going really good. We got through the holidays. It's kind of one just getting things back into order. We had their sibling who we've talked to other foster parents who have other siblings of theirs, and we will have to go over this one because it was absolutely chaos. Once she came into the home, because she's 14, no, she was 15, and just threw a wrench in all the progress we had made with these two youngers. And we are still dealing with repercussions such as the 9-year-old acting up, trying to, as she states, getting kicked out of the house. So that's going to be a whole different episode down the line. I'll try to do it soon so we have more recent. I know I'm covering taxes and everything like that and claiming children as dependents. So please be patient with me. And if you have a topic you want me to go over or you have something you have questions about, such as WIC, the child care credit and stuff like that, please send me an email. But so we will continue on with our second foster kid, who we will refer to as Lex. We actually got Lex when she was 16. Her adoption worker was actually Cassie's best friend, and so we kind of knew a little bit about her. Granted, the friend didn't know the full scale of everything that we would end up going through. Lex was in a group home, which was... there were about 10 kids in there, I believe, and they had workers in that would help them with meals and everything. It was a weird situation. They had their own rooms. They would actually have facilities on site where they could go and do different things. They would actually take trips off site as well. And this process began with us meeting her at the facility, which then moved into off-campus visits, such as coming to our house, going somewhere in public. It then moved to overnights and then on to weekends. And it went on for a few months until she actually moved in with us and became an actual foster kid in general. During this time, we didn't receive any compensation, which is a weird thing. We didn't care about that aspect of it, but from her siblings' foster parents, which they weren't housed together for like safety reasons, they said that when they were doing these visits with the sibling, they were provided, room and board, money to provide food, take them out to do stuff with. So it was odd, which if you listen to this podcast and we get far enough in episodes, you will find out that the system, and while these organizations claim to be like religious affiliated, a lot of it almost feels like monetary, like they are doing this for monetary reasons, which is never why we've done it. We've never made money off this. It's always cost us more because we take them on trips up to the UP like we did for one of our foster kids, did an entire spring break up in the Upper Peninsula and went around to different places. We always make sure that we spend the money on the kids, make sure we give them a life they deserve for all the chaos they've been through. So that's another thing we'll go through. I also have to do one about the email I sent to a bunch of politicians about the agency we're going through, but that's another time. So Lex did make other kids uncomfortable at the facility. She was almost like combative. We really didn't see it at the time, just kind of thought it was like an awkward thing. Had no boundaries, would eat other people's food, would overindulge. And this isn't like judgment at all. It is a food insecurity just because of the traumatic past, which is totally understandable. We'll go over a few things later. She was very self-conscious about her weight, but also had a lot of food security issues and just issues with food in general. She had asked us to help with kind of better eating habits, but then would also tell people that we didn't allow her to eat because we would ask, you had an entire plate. You just give your body time to catch up, let all the signals through your body tell, your brain you're full, and would tell people, if we were at a holiday event that, they don't let me eat and stuff like that. So it was one of those things where she would tell us that she wanted to work on this stuff, but then would also then tell other people that we were not allowing her to eat, which was absolutely false. We never cared what she ate, what her body size was. That was all on her. She was actually the one who was super self-conscious about her weight and asked Cassie to actually help her with her weight. And honestly, she had a whole bunch of other issues outside of that. She had been through a lot of traumatic events, a lot of SA-related stuff. At one point, we had my best friend's niece and her brother down, and her brother was 10, and Lex said that she had a crush on the 10-year-old, which, as a child, I can see not knowing that line, that distinction between finding somebody as a friend and thinking you have a crush on them. But we also did not trust her enough to be around any of the kids by herself, so we always made sure to take that extra step and ensure the safety of any of the other kids that were around. We did not want anything to happen just because she was in numerous situations which made her judgment not exactly of her own fault, kind of skewed, but also made sure that we tried to work with her therapist on it. And from what we could end up telling, she was not working with her therapist on it, even though she claimed she wanted to get that help and would only provide parts of the stories to her therapist. And later on, we would actually find out that she was inappropriate role-playing with an AI, trying to pretend it was a 10-year-old child and doing highly inappropriate things with it. So I'm definitely going to be doing an episode on AI. And while I think it's a very useful tool for me, I have it help me with the summaries and the timestamps for this podcast, just because that is absolutely time consuming. And if I can get something to knock out a summary in less than a minute that saves me an hour, it's an invaluable tool to me. But if you are a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, I think she had a birthday and was 17 at the time, and you're role-playing very inappropriate stuff with an AI trying to pretend it's a 10-year-old, that is an absolute line that should never be crossed. And thankfully, for the most part, the AI was like, this is super inappropriate and you should not be doing this. So I will give it to, I believe it was ChatGPT. I can't remember the exact one, but I will give it to the AI that it was like, this is not appropriate at all. So we will be doing On Top of Technology an AI episode. But in terms of technology, she'd actually go into Discord servers, purposely troll and upset people and get kicked out, and then couldn't exactly understand why she didn't have any friends and was hurt that she was kicked out, even though she was actively trolling these people and essentially being an edgelord, where she would just post absolutely heinous things and antagonize people until the entire server wanted her out, and then would get upset that she did not have any friends, which boggled my mind that she would elicit that response, but then would also go into Discord servers and put out her personal phone number to find people to text, even though she could contact them through Discord, and then couldn't understand why we took away going to a concert and changed her to an iPhone where she could only text contacts and she was restricted to certain downloads. So that's going to be another thing I go over is what different apps and phones you have that you can use to really restrict children to essentially protect them. So far we've learned that iPhone is absolutely the tops on like control and helping keep your child safe, but also AT&T has a really good app where you can control pretty much anything. There are a few things you can't really control, but it does help a ton. Especially in terms of her, she was exchanging videos and texts with somebody on Discord and in quotations dating this individual without actually knowing their age. So technically, if they were sharing photos back and forth, it was a legal issue on the other person's behalf. We didn't end up finding any of this stuff out. It was kind of a moot point by the time it got to this, as she was already on her way out, so there wasn't really much to pursue. And one of the wildest things was she was originally with her grandparents, but was removed because I believe they were very abusive to her and actually neglected her. But then once she found out she was leaving, she would actually contact them, kind of get comfort from them, play the victim. She'd sit in the kitchen on speakerphone, have a conversation with them saying how bad she had it, and then would also claim that we were listening to her conversations even though we asked her to leave the room. So it's a hard one to kind of go over, but if you are fostering, we will actually go over communication and what you do have to provide. Just know that it's not as black and white as you have to provide access to social media. You have to provide open and clear communication with family members, but you do not have to exactly give them all the access to every social media that they need, because we've had two different children claim that they need access, at like 10 p.m. to contact their family members, which I'm sorry. You can get their information and give them a call, old-fashioned style, on the phone, even if they are talking to you over social media. So, no, we will go over that as well and kind of hit all these different resources and kind of get different things that you can use to help you better protect these children, because I think a lot of it is technology addiction, which I do kind of want to go over as well, just because even in my own life I have limited my own social media usage, just because I have found it to where I randomly click on like whatever social media and find myself scrolling when I don't really want to be or have any reason to be. So I can tell you 100% every child we've had who's had a phone or technology before they came into our care has technology addiction. And I'd say even as young as the toddler that we had definitely had some addiction to technology, even if it wasn't social media. So we have so much to cover, and that's why I want to make sure I get back into this and stay consistent with these episodes and get them all out, because I have so many documents going over different topics that I want to make sure that we are talking about this stuff and giving out resources. Even if you aren't a foster parent, I want to make this as helpful to just parents in general, because everything we're going through, I can see other people going through as well on social media and talking to coworkers and everything, and want to be a resource where we can help each other out and give out what works and what doesn't. But for the final stretch, after she left our care, essentially, she was supposed to go to a group home, but was placed with a different family. We ended up seeing her at her brother's graduation. She was not happy we were there. Ended up, as always, because she would antagonize her brother, be mean to him, and then get off the phone with him and be like, "Oh, I'm so mean to my brother," and then be upset about it, but then continually do it. And even once we had gone down essentially into other foster placements, we were going to the local courthouse to oversee an adoption type meeting, like placement with foster kids and their bio parents and why rights were being revoked. We ended up seeing her sitting in the courthouse, so I'm super curious as to what happened. I've tried Googling it a few times and don't really know, so I'm almost wondering if it was truancy, because we received a lot of phone calls once she left here about not going to school, even though she should have been with a foster family that should have taken her to school, because my behind drove her 20 minutes each way to school every day without missing I think we missed one due to weather, so there's no reason she should have been out of school unless they were allowing her to. But honestly, that's not my issue or my concern. And honestly, overall, I do legitimately worry that she is going to fall into that cycle of victimizing somebody else in the future. And I literally don't know what to do. I thought about reporting her to the school to have them check the laptop. Honestly, now that I think about it, I wonder if maybe they found something, because her and all the other teens we've had have not been smart with social media or technology in general. They believe it is this thing where you can delete it from your phone. The current kid we have, who is 14, believes that he can delete text messages on his phone and no one can see them. And it is the most mind-boggling and kind of funny and hysterical thing I can think of, because that is the farthest thing from the truth. The just internet safety of this newest generation absolutely confuses me, because I grew up on a generation where you don't talk to anybody on the internet, you don't talk to anybody ever outside of people you know, and this new generation will give out phone numbers, will go to sites they shouldn't be on, and do all sorts of wild things. And you would believe it'd be the opposite, honestly, with all the technology that we do have. But if you're still listening, I just want to thank you so much. If you have any similar stories, or you can think of anything for, AI, technology, communication with other family members that you're concerned about, please send them my way. You can email me at fosterdaddirective@gmail.com. Go to our Facebook page, like that. Share stories, memes, anything like that. I want to thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and share. As always, send us your feedback, ideas, stories. Please let me know what's good about this podcast, what's bad. Just reach out to me and let me know, because I cannot change something that I'm not aware of. So I want to thank you all so much for listening. Hopefully all remains quiet. On your parental front, I think I'm going to change it to parental front. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a great rest of your week. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.